Hi and hello everyone. Greetings to 200,000 of you who are standing by our side today. Because of your input, we are able to present you a different and a special test drive. In today's episode, you will see a pretty unique car. This is not the type of vehicle you would likely to buy as soon as you wake up. You can't do it. This is not the type of car you might bump into on a daily occasion. Name of this car is Georgie Margiani. Don't get confused. Georgie Margiani. I will explain everything later, but for now, let's check out these beautiful shots you are all expecting. It is such a unique car that it requires a different type of test drive. By different test drive, I mean today we are getting to know this car. The first thing I can say is that it's a mix between ZIL and Navigator. My head is already melting. My brain is literally boiling. I don't know where to begin this. There is so much to talk about, so many details. This is why we don't have much time. A huge crowd gathered around the car and it is impossible to shoot it here. We need to sneak out from here. I will use that time to really plan my review, and after that, I'm going to test drive it. I will tell about my impressions about driving characteristics a bit later, because it's a whole different topic. Let's start with design. We are in solitude now, far from people. I would like to use this time to review it before another crowd gathers around the car, taking pictures and asking a whole bunch of questions about the car. This is ZIL. I mean the upper side. Here you see it from up front. This is a ZIL Model 130, which rests on Navigator. Lincoln Navigator is the base of this vehicle. I will talk about those details later, but before that, I would like to talk about exterior, because it is the first thing that strikes you. When you drive this car through the city, it draws attention, to put it lightly. People literally turn their heads till they fall off. And if you decide to stop somewhere, you will have to spend half an hour answering the questions of curious citizens. It's really hard to own this car in the city for that reason. Let's talk about the car itself. What is ZIL? ZIL is usually a cargo truck, which is used after its definition. It is a specialized Soviet vehicle, which is pretty old. I'm not sure if anyone is into history of ZIL, but I'm sure that no one had an idea that ZIL could turn into something like this. Everyone thinks that it's some old American pickup, either Ford or Chevy, something with 8 cylinders. Actually, this car does have a V8, and it makes such a pleasant sound while driving it, I'm having an instant eargasm. Cabin. Front side looks more like ZIL because the pristine ZIL design was not changed. Mirrors are redesigned though. Check them pretty guys out. It's a cargo truck, a stance cargo truck, hovering real close to the ground, and it looks so good. The hood. Hood is redesigned, I mean its functionality. ZIL hoods are generally open from front to back towards the windshield, but here the hood opens from back to front. Well, that's pretty cool and interesting. A front side. Look at this line dividing top and bottom here. Bottom is heavily customized here by design of owner himself. It is a product of owner's vision. Top has not been touched and it's pristine. I find it interesting. You might have a vision on paper, but in real life it might not work out. But in this case, when design really turned out to be very effective, I guess it's a blessing. I'm thankful for hitting 200,000K so we could film this car. I simply have no alternative for 200K special other than this car. Everything you see right here is done by hand. It was all done in Georgia and everything is made of metal. It is not done with any filling or coating or foam. Everything is made of metal. There are hours of handmade labor put into this car. The thing is that when you make a self-made vehicle, it needs to pass a number of tests required by law to be given the right for exploitation. This car passed absolutely all of them, and as you see, we are able to drive it in the city, which is awesome. I'd like to draw your attention to rims. These are 22-inch rims, huge rims that go so well with the overall color and design. They make it look much like a hot rod from the side. You can see the wheel arc and the huge rim nested inside of it. It looks so pretty being close to the ground level. Actually, this wheel arc is made of two front arcs. I want you to appreciate design choices on this one. You see for yourself how effective this modification is. It seems like it's a factory build. All of this, especially the rear lights you see here, all of it is made by an exclusive design of the owner, and I think they look absolutely lovely. Also, compartments, which are located at the both sides of the car, look really great. Check out this side, still following the whole side of the car. Of course, there is a side step right just above it, which seamlessly flows into exhaustion pipes on the both sides. So we could hear this V8 roaring. It's such a great pleasure to hear that sound while driving this car. As soon as you hear it, you realize that you're driving something special. Let's talk about doors. Factory-made, original ZIL has a specific design for doors. In its case, the doors are bent inwards near the bottom, and due to overall design, doors on this car were altered, so they are straight because it looks so much better. Creating this car was a pretty busy process. Lots of experiments were held, lots of different drafts were made, so that the final version would be the best. And it truly is the best version of itself. Front lights are of the same design as a factory model, but it has a modern twist. Modern lights, installed by modern, I mean its functional advantages and cosmetics as well. That's also pretty cool. Can you imagine the amount of time and labor that went into this car, especially in Georgia? It was being modified for 3 years. There is a lot of enthusiasm involved in this project. It really is a top work, and props to the master. I cannot even imagine me doing something like that. Sorry, can't do. Let's proceed. We are not finished yet. Windshield. This is an original factory-built ZIL windshield. As I mentioned already, the front side is mostly factory-built. These lights on the top were pretty hard to find, but they still managed to get hands on them. Here is one more. Everything here was made by hand. This is all handmade here as well. These metal sheets were exclusively cut and welded. Actually, someone could have masked these bolts, gotten rid of them somehow, but in my opinion, these bolts are such a crucial detail for overall look. I am glad they did not hide them. I love it so much. I'm sure I would do the same thing if it was my design. It's so much better than the flat surface. Backside looks pretty interesting as well. These corners are created after the owner's original view. I mean, they are not factory built. As well as this bumper. That's pretty interesting actually. The bumper is borrowed from a G-Class. It has been altered a bit here on the side so it could correspond to overall design. This is the logo over here. I want you to take a closer look. Georgie Margiani is the name of the owner as well as designer. He was working with a group of close people over this car. And this team managed to create such a unique vehicle that draws so much attention. And now I would like to show you the trunk of the car, so-called pickup bed. It is not your simple flat compartment for cargo. It has been heavily modified as well. So let's check out what is going on in the trunk. Looks already interesting, right? I am sure you did not expect this. These are not just simple car seats. This is a special recreational compartment. You might call it a chilling spot as well, or call it whatever you like. In a minute, I am going to show you how cool this trunk really is. What you do is, wait for a good weather, drive to the mountains, sea, woods in the company of your friends or your girlfriend, doesn't matter. Just push two buttons and chairs will get into upright positions. But it's not over yet. Here you have a built-in sound system. You can control them remotely using any smartphone or device. Pick music of your choice via internet without going inside the car to switch a song. It's that easy. Back seats are really interesting too. These ones are third-row Navigator seats. The top layer is totally custom, made with a specific design. You can see these red stitches here. But this is not it yet. We've seen the seats and sound system. What else do we need? A fridge, where we can keep our ice-cold hell drink. Let's put it over here and enjoy. But there is more. We have a fridge on the side, and on the other side we have a bar. There is no need for proper weather conditions to enjoy drinking in the bar. What else? Of course, we have a table over here. Can you imagine owning this car and especially owning it in a good sunny weather? You can have such a great time with your friends. Go wherever you like on a truly unique car that really looks like no other. These types of cars are really rare in the world. Lots of car creators pay more attention to inside of the car, or just simply lower the suspension. But in this case, this car is a unique mix between ZIL and Navigator. And the name to it is Georgie Margiani. I can't wait to get inside and do a test drive, but since I talked about the trunk, let's check the interior now. This is a Navigator interior. This Navigator was produced around 2004 and 2006. Of course, it is modified because Navigator has a wider dashboard. It is done in a way to create enough space for a driver. It is done so neatly that you might think that it's a factory design. Even if you pay attention to details, they are executed so accurately that you can't even tell if it's a modified car. Everybody thinks that it's some American vehicle that looks like that by default, and it's just freshly painted. But as soon as they find out what is really going on here, they get instantly dumbstruck. Look at these gaps. Leather. Just check out these stitches. Here they are done so precisely that they might surpass even a factory-made quality. It is not over yet. I want you to pay attention to headrests. To these mats right here. Even these are so unique. They are not attached to a car seat. They're attached to the body of a car, and we get this amazing headrest to rest our head on. There is more. Here we have a center console compartment. It is absolutely huge. Here we have an automatic gearbox which belongs to a Navigator. I wanted to check out the monitor. This is an Android-powered monitor, and I wish I could see such high-quality monitors in a factory-made brand-new car. I have seen so much worse monitors in the cars. I mean, just simply look at this monitor. It looks like a factory setting. It's really big, with a rear-view camera. I'll show it to you now. An absolutely huge monitor. I'm not sure of the dimensions, but nevertheless it looks really big. This is the maximum size for this car, and small one would not look so good. Handles are done in respected retro style. That's how we open our doors. Just check out these absolutely gorgeous door panels. It is such a great part of design, and let's be honest, it is done splendidly. I wanted to check out the carpets, you might have noticed them, and they truly look dope too. I don't want to miss the ceiling though. Check out the retro style lamp right over here. The headliner is black. Well, obviously such car wouldn't have white ceiling. Everything inside is black on black. The car itself is blue, and I absolutely love the color combination. The steering wheel is a factory Lincoln Navigator wheel. That has a new logo on top of it. Georgie made exclusively for this car. I think it's time to get moving. Tell you about our impressions, how this car behaves on the road, and as soon as we stop, let's check out the engine. Let's go, Gio. This car is such a pleasure to drive. Here we are in the mountains. Now let's get to the technical side of the vehicle. Let's see what is inside of this car. Here we have an original Navigator engine, 5.4-liter V8, real American muscles, which has 500 Nm of torque and 300 horsepower. This is totally enough for this car to perform as it should. I asked about the weight of this car, and the numbers are pretty masculine too. 2 tons and 700 kilograms. It is really heavy. And this is why such engine is a must for this car. It is a 4-wheel drive. It has a 4-speed automatic gearbox. The whole technical side is similar to Navigator, because it is essentially a Navigator. We see huge Navigator radiators, engine, and air filter. It is not just performing on the road. V8 also offers us its brutal sound. That manly sound that we are all in love with in sport vehicles. It really suits this car, and now I finally understand after driving this car today why Americans are so in love with pickups. Hundreds of horsepowers and a wall of sound. I never truly understood why you should modify pickups and why you should drive them at all. What is the point of tuning them? And now I understand, because it brought me such a different and pleasant experience. Let's ignite it and take a listen to the sound of our monster. These are exhaust tips on both sides of the car. It is really doing well on the road. I won't lie though, it is not super fast, but the speed is just fine, as it is supposed to. The suspension system is also provided by Navigator. It is still in the testing regime, so if the owner doesn't like anything or he feels like something needs improvement, he can absolutely take care of it. This is a brand new car, straight out of the workshop. I'm really happy they gave us the chance to drive it for our special video. I'm sure a video came out really good and you found it interesting. What else can I say? I'm not going to get into more technical details because it is Navigator on the inside and ZIL on the outside. And there are lots of details that are modified. Now I would like to get inside, have a ride, and tell you about the behavior on the road, what emotions I get, and what it really means to drive this car. Let's go. As I told you, driving it is a different experience. Cab might look really spacious through the camera, but it really is not that big. I'm pretty close to the steering wheel, bent forward and ready to do some crazy stuff. Especially hearing this sound. I had such a great experience driving this car, I'd rather call it a unique experience that I have never had. It is really interesting and different car, to put it real shortly. Let me tell you about the driving experience a bit. Of course it is based on the SUV, and this is how it feels. Not like a sports car. It might be low and wide and long, but it still feels like an SUV behind the wheel. Sport SUV, but an old one. Modern sport SUVs are almost indistinguishable from sport cars. Not in this case though. This is a real pickup with a low suspension that rocks from side to side, which is a pretty natural characteristic of an SUV, and I did not expect anything else from it. We mentioned weight already. It is pretty heavy. This is also not a surprise for me because a factory-made ZIL is even heavier. It takes some time to get used to the size parameters of the car because it still is a differently shaped vehicle, especially the hood of the car. We get an illusion that it is really short from here, but as soon as you raise from your seat you see the real size of the car, and it takes some time to get used to it. And all of these feelings create a sense that I am sitting in something really alien. This feels like a hot rod, highly praised in States, but a mysterious type of car for people from Georgia, because we don't have them here. This car has really sparked some interest in local community. Whenever I stop by, other drivers also stop and ask us a bunch of questions about the car. What type of car it is? What is the max speed? What kind of engine does it have? Is it four-wheel drive? And so on. Questions don't seem to stop. Also, lots of people ask about how much gas is it consuming. I don't have answer for that. I guess as much as it needs. This is a one-of-a-kind car and it really is impossible to find that information about it in a catalog. You definitely cannot Google it. And I can't really tell. Since we're doing downhill, I'm going to mention brakes. They work really good. And there is no reason to be afraid. One more word about interior. I absolutely loved it. Both interior and exterior. Especially the quality of the interior and how everything is working properly, and most importantly having an electronic window adjustment on ZIL. Sure, it's a pickup, but we are not on the farm. We just took a turn from the highway. For the evaluation, this project deserves 100 points. You might have time but not resources. You might have resources but not the time. You might have all of it but not have the taste. In this case, plenty of time was well used, as well as resources, and most importantly, imagination. This is exactly the result of combining Russian and American vehicle here, in Georgia. I am Georgie Sarishvili. This was a rough test drive of Georgi Margiani.